Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, this is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. Your KMA crew, the Italian Scallion, Paul DeGracco, Alex Tavella, a.k.a. The GOAT, and always telling it like it is, Honest Abe.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. I am your host, Honest Abe, broadcasting live from sunny South Florida with my trusty crew, the Italian Scallion himself, Paul DeGracco, and the man they call the GOAT, the GOAT. Looks like he's still amongst the living.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes,
barely.
Are you going through the same thing I am?
No, I have a real sickness, not your bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we have like
Okay,
this.
Paul.
Our family has had this throwing up every 20 minutes thing going on. It's like
No, it's great for weight
flu.
loss, though. I could go for one of those compared to this. I mean,
I probably lost 2 pounds.
that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, for all 2 pounds, you could have went to fucking work if that's all you're throwing up.
I was at work. I work right here. I was at work, and then I was on a Zoom call, and I was like, "Excuse me for a minute." I closed the computer.
Oh, man, my whole
ran to
house
throw
has
up.
been sick for 2 weeks. And then I was
God.
sick, but then I thought I was all right, and I kind of worked, and then I wasn't all right, and then I fucking left early, and it's been a mess.
Oh boy, yeah, I know. Marissa said she was sick yesterday.
Yeah,
She's got it. Brian's everybody's passing virus hockey out everywhere. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
God.
Well, better this week than next week.
I tell you
Yeah,
what,
that's true.
I really feel blessed. I don't know if it's the dirty, filthy farm genetics of my parents' upbringing or whatever it is, being exposed to probably every disgusting element growing up, very unhygienic childhood. But, knock on wood, man, I really seldom ever get a bug. I really.
Yeah, I don't remember you ever really being sick.
No one
I really don't.
I mean, I
that.
can only remember being sick twice in my life. And both times I got hospitalized. Like one was pneumonia.
Oh God.
Yeah, one was pneumonia. It was real bad.
One was I knew you when you were hospitalized. It was when I first started working with you guys, I think.
It might not have been sick. I mean, I've been in the hospital for a couple other reasons. But,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I seldom get a bug, man. And
Yeah.
my dad's the same way. I can seldom recall my dad ever. I mean, I know he's had a couple bugs in his thing, but really, I mean, I think it's the farmer genetics, drinking dirty water growing up or whatever it is. But
Do you guys in your house, Abe, with all the kids, like, have you ever gone through this type of thing, like where one kid gets a stomach
I think there
flu?
was one time where like everybody in the house was sick, but
That's what happened here.
My baby girl seems to have. My wife doesn't get sick often, but she'll get a bug once a year.
Yeah, that's Stephanie.
My baby girl seems to have my genetics. When everybody else is like all dying and coughing and she's like la 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 running around the house all happy.
Oh God, they must hate her.
But yeah, man, I really, I mean, I'm lucky, thank God. Honestly, I don't have to really deal with it that often. I almost hate talking about it because I'll probably catch something now. But
I know it's like we don't want to think about it here, but then we were a couple of days out of it. Then my mother-in-law came and we thought we'd be fine. The doctor's like, yeah, you'll be fine. Just don't let her change the baby's diaper. And they're sick now. So it's.
Yeah,
the problem is with you guys is you got kids and family. It just becomes virus hockey. I mean, It started with Alex's baby. Sonny had.
But that's the worst part of it all right now because Sonny was patient zero. So now. So now he's better, he's good, and he requires the most attention, and the rest of us are still sick.
And now you're sick, and you can't do it. Yeah, it has been a trying week, man. I'll tell you what. If anybody's out there that wants their kids to see why they shouldn't have kids too young, just come over to my house right now. It's the best birth control you could ever have in your life with what's going on in this house.
I might come over, Paul. I could go for a stomach virus, drop a few pounds, whatever works.
Listen, I don't. We thought it was gone completely, and then I'll tell you what, we thought we were out of it. When the kids started feeling better, my wife and I were like, "Oh my god, we're good." I haven't thrown up in 15 years. I remember I felt like I had to throw up. I'm like, what do you do? Do I have to prepare for this? I don't. But
You
it
go to
worked.
the toilet and you have your wife hold your hair up while you vomit.
Yeah, there's no.
Oh, you got a haircut.
Finally.
Yeah.
Oh, why do you leave the shadow?
Yeah,
I don't know.
why?
My wife likes it. In all honesty, I was going to bet
shadow?
it this time.
She likes
Half
the shadow.
shadow.
I don't know
shadow.
why.
It's a shadow at best.
I mean, if it's that, it's
Just
more like a
embrace
little bit
it.
of dust.
Get a little tan and let it ride.
Listen, man, anything that she even somewhat kind of likes or thinks that is maybe possibly slightly appealing or attractive about me, I do.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Keep it.
Because there's so few things that I got to make sure that, I look as good as I
Who
possibly
you
can.
hiding, huh? Who you hiding over there? I saw
She
people.
keeps coming in and out. The
Very
kids are going to a
festive-
birthday
festive
party.
this morning as well.
I am. Check it out. I thought we were going to wear ugly sweaters.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it. I forgot it's
Listen,
the last show.
I did not own a sweater when I lived in Chicago for 26 years. I doubt I'm going to own one in Florida.
Really? Oh, see, I was a big sweater guy.
Bro, I got a built-in sweater I walk around with all day. I mean, seriously, come on.
I used to I rocked that like 90s look for up until I left New York with like the black V-neck sweater and the white t-shirt underneath. That was my look.
Two
This
things
is
you'll
my
never
signature
see
look.
is a sweater and a turtleneck.
I don't think I've ever worn a turtleneck either.
I can't. I have no neck.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
true. How would that work?
Where to go? It'd be
It would,
it'll be a,
yeah, it would.
Chin neck.
it'd be a turtle chin. No turtlenecks, no sweater.
So while Alex and I are dealing with the pandemics in our houses, what's going on with you, Abe? You guys preparing for the holidays?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have just pretty much Christmas Eve dinner. My wife went crazy. I love my wife. I really don't know, but every now and then she just has these episodes of complete delirium, like delirium. We had this thing early on with Christmas gifts, right? And like she wanted to get these kids like a whole bunch of stuff, and it was just like too much. I just didn't get it, and it
Yeah,
really
you've talked
bothers
about
me.
this. They get like one gift, one book.
Yeah, what
Something
really
you need,
bothers me about the
something
whole
you
thing
want.
is half the stuff ends up in the garbage in the first like month. It's just such a waste, so wasteful. So we came up with this agreement, like, God, it had to be like almost 10 years ago, literally, maybe 8 years ago, where each kid would get 4 things for Christmas. And I can't remember where we heard this from, but we kind of been living by it. They get something they want, something they need, something to wear, and something to read. 4 things. That's what they would get for Christmas. Really simple. I don't know what happened this year, man. She went haywire.
Oh, I love it.
Like she went. I literally said that. She literally, and you know what's? This is why I love my wife. She didn't like argue with me or fight with me. She goes, maybe you should do the Christmas shopping next year. Like she knew. She knew she went haywire. Like I don't know what got. Maybe it was COVID. I don't know what got possessed her, but yeah, man, there was just like too much crap under our tree.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
so
already
we're
under
having-
the tree?
Huh?
It's already under the tree?
Our stuff is under the tree, and some relatives who aren't going to be by put stuff under the tree. And then, when Santa comes, Santa has his
okay.
stuff. It's all different
Okay.
gift wrapping.
You don't have any gifts under the tree?
They
right now?
they do get gifts from their parents outside of Santa Claus.
Oh, dude, I don't know if I guess we do.
Oh
we
no,
do
we've
like one
always done
gift.
that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do one gift from us. Actually, you're right. We do one gift from
Yeah.
us, but this year it's the play set, and then
And it kind of makes it cool for them because they see all these gifts, and then well, I mean, I think Zara knows. I'm not sure because she actually still believes in the elf on the shelf stuff. So I don't know, but she's one of those ones I know that even if she knew, she'll still fake believing it like for years because she's.
That's what I'm telling you. I think
Yes,
Carmine's
that's
totally scamming me. I think he
She-
thinks if he lets out that he knows, it's over. There's no more.
No, she just wants to believe. That's just the type of girl that she is, But yeah, so and then all of a sudden they wake up and there's all these new gifts under the tree. It's kind of cool.
yeah, I'm trying to. We have some gifts under the tree, but it's because my mother-in-law's here and she gave them gifts. But my family's all coming for Christmas unless they are too scared to come because the virus.
Ryan wants to know what we're smoking, and in honor of our guest today,
Hold on, let me zoom in on
Bam,
that.
yes, Avo Caribe.
bam, bam, bam.
Are you
It's
smoking
actually-
the same? Yeah.
Of course.
It's actually, oh, mine's different.
No, it's
I
not.
got this. Yeah, it is.
What do you mean?
I got a different band. Mine's the Cinco.
Carib, bro. We grabbed it out of the same box
Is
at the
it?
same
Why
time.
does yours
Yeah,
look
look.
different? Put yours back up to the screen. Oh, it must be just a camera. Your band
Yeah,
looks orange.
his camera looks orangey.
Yeah, that band is orange. Mine's red. I couldn't read what was on their
Oh,
label,
it's
but it looked like a
orange.
different label.
Really?
Abe has better lighting than you, or a better camera.
You don't see the difference in the color on your screen?
Yeah, I do.
Alex looks a little washed out, but that may be the sickness.
No, I need to get a light behind or in front of me.
I just have a regular desk lamp here, but what we should
you
get.
have the sun behind you too.
Yeah, but what we should get is like those ring lights, those little
I mean, I can,
plug-in ring lights.
if I dropped, I would be more lit up too. But then I sacrificed the beautiful screen behind me, which
We don't want that.
I'm rocking this till February. There'll be no Philadelphia backgrounds for a while. Carlos
maybe you just want him to add the Great Smoke somewhere in there.
it's in there, bro. What do you mean?
Oh
Where?
God, you know what? Your head blocks it. That's why I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
see
in
it.
there. No, he did a hell of a job with this thing.
Oh, TGS, there it is.
It's in there.
Yeah, that is one
Hell of a
hell of a
job.
piece
That's
of art.
pretty cool. I feel like we might see some tattoos of that.
I just thought of something. We haven't run the shirts yet. Well, no, that'd be like 8,000 colors. Take it back.
Yeah, forget it.
Skip it.
Not
skip
even
it.
possible.
But that is pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
Look at the
Carlos,
Alaskans.
Jesus. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Yeah, they got to be up early.
My God. Go to bed. It's
They
Saturday.
work out. They probably work out at 3:30 in the morning. I always see Michelle's posts at like 8 o'clock our time in the morning. I'm like, wow, she's already done working out.
Oh, yeah.
I slept late for the first time since I've had children today. I slept till 8 o'clock. It was the weirdest feeling in the world. I like woke up in a panic, like a cold sweat. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And Stephanie's like, everybody's sick. Oh, okay. Again?
I wish I could get up early.
Oh, you can't get up early?
Oh, I can't go to sleep. So I might not fall asleep till 2, 3. Why am I going to get up at 6?
You have 2 children. I go to sleep every night at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up at 6.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes
that's
What
5:30.
what time do you
That's what
wake
Marissa's
up?
for. Who,
What
me?
time do you wake up? Yeah.
Like a normal day, go to work?
Yeah.
8:30.
Why the hell does it take you so long to get here?
What do you mean? I get at 10 o'clock. Take my
Really? I
time.
usually stroll in like 11, 11:30.
I mean, it depends. Maybe I'll stay in bed a little late.
Yeah.
Take an extra long shower. I make it up on the back end.
Well, yeah, that's true. Because anytime I ever stop there,
I'm
I
here.
think it's very rare that I go there and he's not there. I'll pop in there if I'm driving
that's
by
what
at like 9
that's
o'clock.
what counts.
Yeah, only difference is he's playing video games at night.
Bullshit. One fucking
Very
time.
rarely. I have seen him do it once.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
came
he
back
was
there.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock on a Friday, I finally shut it down.
I think it was even later than that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. It was late that night. It was all
Hey,
right.
let me ask.
You got a
Let me-
Christmas tradition you do every year.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, you go out with a whole group of like same people every year.
Yeah, we go out with a crew and we eat Chinese food on Christmas Eve. That's what we do.
you mean you like go to a restaurant?
Oh yeah.
Do you go to the same restaurant or is it just different?
Well, we used to go to a place called Gary Woo's in Boca, which was great, but they closed down.
Oh,
And then we went to another place for a while. We've kind of bounced around the last couple of years, and the crew was skimmed out a little bit, but we still make our Chinese food tradition. We actually went to a place last year which was excellent. I think it was called Rainbow Palace in Fort Lauderdale. It was excellent Chinese.
I've actually heard of that.
I love
Yeah.
Chinese food, but I'm very sketchy where I go to eat Chinese food.
Yeah,
not-
no,
Especially
this
down
place is
here.
the high-
I
this
will
Especially
not
down
Rainbow
eat
here.
Palace
Chinese
is the
food from
high-end
a place I
place.
don't know.
No, Rainbow Palace was high end play. It was really good, really good.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between high end, like a Chinese sit down menu, and like
yeah, I know, but there's
takeout.
not that many high-end Chinese restaurants lying around.
Right.
I mean, it's, most of them
Not
are these
here.
little
No,
takeout.
it's not like
places or-
Asian fusion. It's just high end, New
Yeah.
York type Chinese. Nice place.
There's a good place called Uncle Joe's on North Lake, right where our old studio used to be.
I've been there with you. That
That's
place
a
was awesome.
great place.
Remember
Great
when we
place.
took Colin there? Abe got like this huge appetizer platter, and I mean it was enough to feed like 6 people. And he's like, Colin, have some. Me and Abe are, stuffing our faces, enjoying life. And Colin's like, I'm not really much of an eater. I'm like, what?
Do you ever talk to Colin?
Not in the last maybe like 6 months or so.
I wonder how many of our listeners don't even know who we're talking about. That's the difference when you'll know the real hardcore fans who've been around for a while and not. Alex, did you even ever deal with Colin? You never even dealt with Colin.
I know, but I've never dealt with him. No.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Colin was he was actually really good. He was our board man for many, many years up until COVID, literally.
And then we tried to get him in, but he couldn't commit. And then he tried to give us someone else's name. I don't even know if I brought you into that.
Honestly, we didn't really listen. We really don't need a board man for this format, since we went to this format after COVID. But we wanted to keep him involved in the show, and he was really good at it, and he knew the vibe, and he had impeccable timing with some of his sound bites. He was really good.
And he used to keep funny things from Abe all the time.
From everybody. He used to do this thing. What did you always say, Paul? Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
So like if you just kept saying something, like he would audio, and then he'll just play it randomly throughout the show. And you wouldn't know if it was really Paul saying it or not. We'd be talking, and you just hear Paul go, wow. Oh, yeah.
There was one time on the entire show since I've been there that Abe said during the show, he's like, all right, you got me. I'm wrong. And Colin kept it. He's like, we'll never hear him say this again. So, and he's played it once or twice, but not very often. But or when you were asking a question one time, and you're like, so if you were okay, yeah, I got nothing. You were trying to come up with a question.
What was Adam's soundbite? That's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that was my phone ringer for him for a while. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because he would say that all the time during a show. But yeah, we tried to get him back on, and he had a part-time job during COVID, and and
Yeah, now he's working full-time again. But
I don't even know how it would work like this.
He could run a soundboard. I mean, we could try it again. He was very reluctant. It's weird with people, like he loves it.
I honestly think he loved doing it. But I honestly think he was reluctant because he was scared because we would have to buy him equipment.
Oh, that was the other thing, yeah.
We would have to have bought him some new equipment, which I was more than willing to do. And I think he was scared, because he'd have to start using stuff he wasn't familiar with. And, it wasn't a normal soundboard in the studio room. Right. And I think it freaked him out a little bit, and I think he just, was nervous and just didn't do it.
Well, because Colin, you wouldn't know it by looking at him, but Colin's in his 50s.
No, I wouldn't have never known it.
Yeah, I think he might be older than you, Abe.
Which actually makes him all the more odd.
Yeah, and he's been doing radio since him and I, we used to pass radio stories, but I started in radio at 16, and he was the same age, but he was I was kind of interning, working at a student radio station. He was working at a station.
That's who we forgot to reach out to for our 10th anniversary show.
No, we didn't.
Oh, you reached out to him?
I did.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't available. I'll just say that.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I reached out to him. I talked to him briefly. But he may come back. I would love to have him on and just talk to him about his life one day. Especially for the old school fans that love Colin. Because there were people that would just be we'd have a soundbite and people would just know and they'd comment oh, Colin is awesome. Colin's so great. He's like the Fred, from the Stern Show. I would love to. I have a lot of questions for him. He's like an Adam.
You have a lot of questions for everybody. You're just a very inquisitive person.
I don't know. There's certain people that you meet in your life that you're just like Adam. I'm just so amazed that he functions in regular society. I mean, I don't think he does anything crazy that would kill him. But it's more how do you survive in a society with his antisocial lifestyle? And I don't know. I mean, and he kind of thrives.
You were like his one friend in Florida.
Yeah, I talked to him not too long ago. Couple months ago, he was golfing. It was a Tuesday. I'm like, really? You don't have to work? He goes, no, just everything's all taken care of. It all works out.
It's okay. Funny.
But the funny thing is, he's in charge of the staff at his new place.
Oh, lovely.
Could you imagine a team meeting?
Listen. I can't imagine because his employer talks to me regularly, so I know the whole story. He works for Norell.
Oh.
He went to work for Norrell up in North Carolina.
All right, guys, we're gonna have a really big day today. It's Christmas Eve, so we need to all
Norrell
be
gets
on
all
our
the drinks.
game.
Somebody get me a drink.
He is living his best life.
Norrell's
though.
like the ghost of KMA past, huh? He's got all the
All the derelicts.
We'll
go and do another remote there, and
I
we'll
didn't go
we'll
in
talk
last
to
one.
all the.
Was I sick?
I don't know. You didn't show up when we got on the flight because you had some kind of an issue, and then that morning you were going to drive and you ended up not driving. I don't really remember. It was like a mystery why you weren't there, and it was weird for us because Adam didn't even know. So people were showing up. Like a lot of people showed up for that show. Alan Rubin was one of them, and they were like, "Hey, where's Abe?" And we're like, "He had a family obligation." And it was very obvious that we were lying because we should have come up with a story together because we didn't have a story.
Yeah, I can't even remember why I didn't make that. Something happened. I remember.
Still to this day, I don't think I know.
Maybe
you were sick.
Must have been. It could have been. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But if I was just sick, you would have known.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know.
Must have been something personal.
Yeah. Well, because you don't share everything on here.
No. Marcus Wood misses the Brewmeister.
Well, he came on briefly. For that awkward 2 minutes.
10th anniversary, yes.
I got to rewatch that. He was very
drunk.
What is the word? I don't think
Drunk
he was, but he was very alive.
He was definitely drunk.
The word is drunk.
He was definitely drunk. It was 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Are you kidding me? He was already like half a bottle in.
Oh no. It was cool seeing him though.
We got Eddy Guerra of Avo Cigars here for our Meet Your Maker segment. Let's start it up with him, get him on the show, and see what's going on.
I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell.
It's time to meet your maker.
And now joining us live, Mr. Eddy Guerra. Welcome, Eddy.
How are you guys?
Is it your first time on the show?
No.
It is.
No.
It's his first time for me, for
Is
sure.
it really your first time ever as a guest on our show? I swore we had you. I mean, I know you've been on the Spotlight feature, I believe.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, but it's my first time on the show.
Oh, wow.
Officially. Yes.
Well,
No
welcome.
pressure.
Well,
No
no
pressure.
pressure, right? Yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So, Eddy, how is closing out this year? We're coming to the end of 2022, man. Well, first of all, let's start with this for anybody who's unsure. Why don't you tell us exactly what you? I mean, you had an extensive career in the cigar industry with many companies. Give us a little synopsis of where you've been and how and where you're at now with Davidoff and what you do for Davidoff.
Cool. Yeah, I started a little different than most, I would say, in this business. I started overseas, so I was a importer distributor, and then I had lounges and cigar bars in Southeast Asia and based out of Bangkok, Thailand. So that was fun and unique. And then I moved back to the States, and I kicked off. I was marketing director for Greco for a while, and from there I went to Altus USA, in which I was the senior brand manager for Monte Cristo and Trinidad. And then from there, I'm here at Davidoff, which is the Mecca, as I like to call it, and I'm the brand manager for Davidoff, Avo, and Camacho. So that's the very fast version.
But so Eddy, before you had cigar lounges, you were in marketing before that, correct or no?
Yeah,
I've always in marketing.
I do. So, So, long story short, I grew up in hospitality. My family owns and operates venues all over South Florida, between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, and it was just part of the family business. Something that I naturally gravitated to, and I just really enjoyed hospitality in every sense of the word, like really taking care of people, making sure they're happy, and I enjoyed the marketing aspect to it. So I kind of went my own route, worked with the family for a bit, then I just being the youngest of four, I totally wanted to go my own way, and I became the marketing director of a company called Mickey Beach, which we were a global luxury lifestyle, like beach club and hotels. So that's actually what led me to Asia. And
okay, that was my next question.
Yeah, they moved me, and there's a global marketing director. They said, hey man, we're gonna send you to Thailand to open up the new hotel. You're gonna be there for about a month. Open up the hotel, get it operating, open up the beach club. Then, you'll go to Bali, and it was like so on and so forth. And that month turned into 3 months. Then that 3 months came back home for about a month, and they were like, we need you to go out to now like almost manage the region. And that turned into 3.5 years
Wow.
of living out there, which was awesome, an amazing experience. And this is, growing up in Miami, as big as a city it is, it's just very, very small. Right. So the school that I went to, we grew up with pretty much most of the cigar manufacturers and their children. Like we all went to the same churches, we all went to the same schools, we all went to the same restaurants. It's kind of a real small place. So when I was over there, it was really interesting because I love cigars. I grew up in Miami, my Cuban, so it was, man, I want to offer cigars to our customers. Like, it was an amazing amenity to have in the hotel, because the way I saw it, operating venues with bars, which was for every cigar that I sell somebody, I'm going to sell 3 cocktails, right? It's almost worth giving away a cigar. So I wanted to do this, but all there was Habanos were their Pacific cigar brand, the entire region. And with a 400% tobacco import tax, a Cohiba Robusto was running $125 in Thailand.
Wow.
Yeah, it was something that was kind of hard to explain, how everything else is extremely affordable over there. But when it came to like luxury goods, it was, 400% more. So it was a really weird situation. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way. I contacted Pacific Cigar Habanos and told them I wanted to do kind of like a little like Casa Habano micro lounge in our hotel. And all they would do is give me a 10% off retail price, and I was like, well, that doesn't really work for me. And they're like, well, it is what it is. Good luck getting cigars in this country. Wow. So didn't really appreciate the answer. And also, coming from parents of Cuban immigrants that had tobacco farms, and which is coincidental. I was like, kind of like, well, fuck you. So I called a bunch of the guys that I grew up with in Miami, and really, really small. Like, I called the Padrones, I called Nick Perdomo, I called a bunch of people, and I was like, hey man, I need cigars to sell in my hotel. Could you send me a few boxes? Because dude, it's just for a hotel. It's no big deal. And I kind of got laughed at. They're like, hey man, we're friends. We grew up with each other. Just, you want a few boxes, man. I can't send that to Asia. Like, if you want to do this, you really got to import. You got to get an import license. You got to do everything completely legit, which was a little eye-opening for me. And I was like, oh, fuck. I don't need cigars like that. But what I did was, I said, let me get back to you guys. I went to the Hotel Association meeting, and I stood up in front, like at the end of the meeting, I stood up in front of 90 hotel general managers. I was like, hey, kind of small point after we discussed everything, but, we're getting completely fucked by, Casa Habano and all this stuff. And in a way to get amazing premium cigars from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and all this kind of stuff, there's going to be at a lot less of a price point, and I could sell it, we could all get it at a real wholesale cost. So we're going to be saving half the money. We could cut the competition, and really, let's just take care of our guests. And the general consensus of the room was like, yeah, man, listen, you just buy it and we'll buy it off you, man. Like, there's no big deal.
Yeah, they wanted you to do all the work.
Right.
Yeah. So I left a little bit kind of like, man, did I just start a business? Yep. I'm going to become an importer. And I started with 90 hotels is like, I was on premise at 90 hotels while running my own hotel. So it was a really eye-opening moment. Also because there's no brick and mortar for the most part. In Asia, like, there's Casa Habano, there's Davidoff's. That's it. Like, and they're very spread out. And for the most part, everything is sold in hotels and restaurants. It's just a different culture, different licensing, different everything. So I was like, fuck. I mean, all right. So I did it, and the first person I started working with was Nick Perdomo at the time, who was really instrumental in teaching me a lot. And I'm real, I'll never forget that. And dude, it was magic. I eventually left the company. I was like, man, I'm gonna work for myself. I was 30 years old, and I just felt like shit. I'm kind of at the top of that company that I was at, and it was family owned, and they're never gonna give me a piece of the company. So I was like,
go for it.
And they're really cool. Yeah. Like, and I was like, man, I've been opening up places my whole life for other people and my family. I was like, man, maybe I should open up a bar. So at that time I was living in an island called Koh Samui. So I flew to Bangkok, kind of scoped some things around, ran into a guy who had a private member cigar lounge, and I instantly fell in love because it was everything you would absolutely dream of that we do not have here in the United States. So it's like, it was a beautiful house converted into an amazing lounge, and overseas, and it was $50,000 to join this club. And you walk inside the club, and there was politicians. You had like 14 different ambassadors from around the world.
$50,000 one time or annually?
And one time.
Okay. Still,
but like
crazy.
it was dude, in Thailand. But if you figure out, you had all the crazy expats, CEOs, ambassadors, diplomats. It was so like I walked in and it was like everything you dream of as a kid of what cigars is all about. You weren't allowed to use your phone in there. You were always in a suit. If your phone actually went off, you had to buy everybody in the venue a round of drinks. Which, when you talk about people that have money like that, I mean, the round of drinks are not inexpensive.
It's a nice tab.
That's a pretty good find right there.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And what that did was it cultivated this culture of true camaraderie, intellectual conversation, and the byproduct of that was an immense business network. So like I was like blown away. So I told the guy, I was like, kind of told him what I was doing, and I said, man, I want to do this bit for the public. Which still was very exclusive because you're considering a third world country. In Thailand, you're still talking about the elite that could afford to go to wherever you want to build, but like without a $50,000 fee, because I felt like I belonged there, but I didn't have a $50,000 laying around. You know what I mean? So he said, man, let's do it together and I'll fund it for you. And I said, fuck, all right. Well, you fund it, I'll do all the work. And I left my job with Nick Beach, and man, we opened up this place, and literally it was magic, because funny enough, to open up the place cost less than the $50,000 to join.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're doing construction in town, and I built a beautiful whiskey and cigar bar. It got like in the first year, it got like awarded by Cigar Journal, and it was just like this really magical place. And
now, are you
still
distributing cigars at this time when you've opened this up, or you stopped?
Yeah. So that was the backbone of the business, and then I wanted to do lounges.
Okay.
And we opened up the first lounge, and we kind of curated this place to be. We only sold non-Cubans, and it was only rare single malt whiskeys. Like, so we were just doing rare bottling. So I contacted this guy named Andrew Lane. And the Lane family in Scotland is like, they're the big guys there, and they do all the single cask bottlings. So, I mean, I was getting like Glenn Levitt, 37 years old, like things like that. And we had over 300 different types of bottling. So it was like paradise. And we cookie cuttered this thing. And in 3 years, we opened up 5 locations.
Wow.
And it was awesome. And I got really picky, because at the time I had a philosophy, and I kind of still believe this, that you don't need more than 10 brands in your store at all. Like, between everybody's portfolio, 10 brands could cover everything. You know what I mean? I felt like it could cover every flavor profile needed. And It was like a really elite thing, man. So like at the time I was just bringing in all like the who's who in the United States. I got to meet everybody. They were happy that they're getting distribution in Southeast Asia, and it was an amazing symbiotic relationship.
Now, when you were talking about 10 brands, you're talking about 10 brands in your lounges, not 10 brands that you were just distributing.
Both.
Oh, so really? So you get your distribution was only based on 10 brands. Now, when you say brands, are you talking about lines of cigars or 10 companies?
No, 10 companies.
Okay, so it's a lot more than 10 brands.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
okay.
Just think of between my father, Tatuaje, Nick Perdomo.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify because it sounded like you were working on 10 brands, which I was going to say is impressive. I didn't,
No, it was just 10 companies, man. Yeah. 10 families, I guess.
10 companies is a lot of brands.
Absolutely.
It is. And it was really my first learning experience. Like we're building humidors and, it goes past friendship. Now it turns into business, right? So they're like, hey, man, you need to carry this. You need to carry this. You need to carry this. And like, I remember one day looking at Nick Perdomo, I was like, God damn, I need an entire fucking room just for your product. It was just so many things. So it was awesome. And you kind of wanted to carry it all because you kind of fell in love with everything and you wanted to support everybody because they supported you. It was really interesting. So I'll never forget how this all ended because there's a reason why I'm back in the States. Because at one point I was like, I'm on top of the world. I'm making a ton of money. I'm living in Southeast Asia. I'm never coming home, right? The military. All right, so I'm doing an event there, and Rocky Patel surprise visits me in Thailand. Which was really crazy because like we're just, not many people come out there. So like all of a sudden I turn around and Rocky and Nish walk in the room. They're like, oh my God, how are you doing? And I was like, oh shit, what are you guys doing over here? They're like, oh, we're at a wedding and in town, so we decided to come by and visit. We wanted to get to know you. Dude, at that moment, the military overthrew the government.
Ooh.
It was like you ever see Godfather when they're like in Cuba and like shit with the man? Like it was a week like that, right? And Rocky left, and ironically, Kaizad flew in from Gurkha. Don't know why the two Indian guys were in town at the same time, but it kind of happened.
That's funny.
And it was crazy. And that's, I was distributing Gurkha because it was extremely popular over there. And it was just kind of like, I remember he looked at me, he's like, hey man, you need to get out of here. Like this shit's kind of crazy. There's tanks rolling down the street. And and he looked at me, he's like, if you ever need anything, you hit me up when you get back to the States. I love what you built here. I was like, oh, cool, man. I appreciate it. And I kind of stuck it out for like another 5 months, thinking like, the government's been overthrown there, 20 times in 44 years. So it's not something new, but like this one was bad and everything like shut down for like 6 months. It was like, wow. So the guy that I had as a partner at the time, he's like, man, this will calm down. Don't you worry. And I was like, man, I'm 32 years old, turning 33. Like I'm young, man. I could start all over again. I don't need to kind of like live in Southeast Asia. Like this was great, but to me, a real quality of life is being able to walk down the street and not have to worry about anything. Like I'm an American from Miami, bro. Like, so yeah, I think I'm going to go. And he was, I was like, I sold off my shares to him and he did whatever he did with it. And
is he still around?
Do
you ever
No, he sold the company to somebody else. The company's still there. It's still thriving, I hear. But, we never really stayed in touch. I mean, I wasn't living in Asia anymore, and it was what it was. And I moved back, and I kind of was like, I'm going to take some time for myself, kind of reevaluate, see what I'm going to do. And I was on this whole thing of like, my family has been. He was like, fuck it. Let me just open up this same concept in Miami. And as you can imagine, it was very different in cost, right? So I tried to do it, and then at the time you had Ryan and Jason were opening up Prime in Brickell, if you remember that. They went from Boca to Brickell. So I was like, man, and our concepts were really similar. And they seeked me out, and I kind of did a contract to help them open up the place, and we opened up the place for them. And at that point, I kind of realized, like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, like, it's just the way the laws and everything functions in the United States, and it's just the cost of insurance and fucking employees. And it was just so much. It was a little overwhelming. And after what I just went through all these years, I was just running high stress, and I was like, probably time I take a little break. And at that time, Kaizad reached out to me again for like the 19th time, and I was like, all right, let's rock and roll, and let's do some creation, because I fell in love with the business, and I fell in love with what it was overseas, and I've always said I will change the business in the United States, because it's not what I would love to, like, it's not what it is, like, I would love to see it change and evolve. And I've always, like, in a lot of interviews and a lot of times I repeat that line, which I could get into it later, which was kind of dumb of me to say, really, because I'm not going to change shit. I eventually had to find, I thought I could, but what it was is I had to find my tribe and the people that are going to change shit with me. I have to be a part of the team that all has the same vision, and luckily today I am, right? Which we could get into that piece later. But so yeah, we're still going to change the business. But I worked for Kaizad, and it was a really interesting time, because what I was really in love with was the concept of developing brands and how to market them and be creative in packaging. And there was no better company to do that with. And it worked, and I learned a ton of stuff from him. And that, it's funny how everything works. So I gained a mentor during that time. During that time, I was blessed and lucky enough to sit next to one of the greatest people I've ever met in my life, which is Jim Colucci. And I sat with Jim every damn day, and he kind of like taught me so much about the U.S. business, and I will always be grateful to him for that, which was neat. And then at that point, 2 years into that, somehow, some way, I was recruited by another great person. Rob Norris came up to me, and he was like, man,
great
kid,
guy.
I owe so much to him. He saw like my vision one time, and he was just like, man, I'd love to have you come over to Altruist USA, and do what you do for Cristo. It's funny, it's a crazy interview process, and to go through the whole gamut. And one of the questions he asked me was like, hey man, what, if you were to come on board, like, what would you do? Like, what brands aside from Monte Cristo? And I told him right off the top, I was like, give me Trinidad. And he kind of was taken back a little bit, because he's like, who the fuck says that? It was just like at a very different time in the company.
It's always been one of their key moniker, legacy brands that they just never were able to get going.
They were never able to get it going.
There hasn't been, in my opinion, an iteration of Trinidad that sustained or really reached the market until Espiritu recently.
Thank you. Right. So that was it. Right. So before I started the gig, this isn't a little, he's like, back of the napkin, pitch me something. And I pitched him Espiritu back of the napkin, and I was like, kind of told him the vision for it and all this stuff. And he's like, you're kind of crazy, kid. We'll figure it out. And then 2 years later, it all worked itself out. It wasn't the first thing, but it was kind of like what got me into the company. That was an awesome ride, because I met a lot of awesome people. I worked with a lot of great people, and who become more than friends, or like family to me. And it was great. And then today, it was almost like,
not to cut you off, do you remember the Trinidad? I even forgot the name. It was so terrible. It was the one with the
Paradox.
Oh God, was that the worst ever?
It was not very good. No, it was not very good.
Packaging, design, look. Forget about even just how the cigar was. I mean, just totally disconnected from the name Trinidad.
Yeah.
Just a complete disconnect. I don't know who thought that. I don't know who thought that up, and then I don't know who thought that was going to be a good idea. But wow, you couldn't have been more.
Yeah, I don't know either. It was not very good. which it helped me because it helped
Yeah,
me with,
yeah, it did.
it helped me stand out a little bit. But so the beauty of all this was,
Paul, you got to pull up a box of Paradox, just for any of our listeners who don't know what that box looked like.
Okay, I'll find it.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about one of the most quintessential, historical brand names. And wait till you see this packaging they had come out with. But go ahead, Eddie. I'm sorry to cut you off.
yeah, no worries. So the beauty of all this is throughout, I felt like I had to go through that entire process of all those trials and tribulations and creation and different paths to lead me to where I was today, because I was able to reconnect with one of my childhood friends. So, which was when we were growing up, we would always talk about artistic stuff and creative stuff and how to like bend the rules. And like, we're having pretty forward thinking conversations at 14 years old. Right. And we both were creative directors eventually in our lives later on. And this gentleman, which I moved to Thailand for all those years and then came back, was in my own world. And this gentleman approaches me one day, and it turns out he's in the fucking cigar business. Right. So, and it was like this amazing moment to reconnect. And he looks at me, he's like, "Hey man, I saw that Trinidad stuff that you did. It was really nice, man. I love the work." I was like, "Oh man, thanks, man. That means a lot." He was like, "I'd love to get together, like we should work together, He's like, and that person is, Dylan Austin, who's fucking the president of Davidoff, right? So that was like a really amazing moment for me. And, he brought me on board, and, this is where I sink and come back around, where I foolishly, I used to say, man, I'm going to change this business. I'm going to change this business. And what it really was is I actually had to find the group of people who had that same mentality and that same drive and that same power. And I'm really grateful, man, because like I was brought into this tribe, as I like to call it, of people that just all have the same animalistic mentality and want to bend the rules and innovate and really revolutionize what we consider our business today. And it's been an awesome ride, and is where we're at. And I've only been there 2 years right now. And the 2 years I've been there, it's been an amazing challenge, because one thing is adapting to the Davidoff way, which is extremely forward thinking, very fast paced and super elite. And then adapting to that while a pandemic strikes, right? Which to me was the greatest gift any marketer could ever receive, because all we've ever talked about as marketers is how we need to evolve and go digital and do this and do that. And no one ever gets it, right? Or they're like, yeah, we know it works, but to really invest in and put resources behind it to help people, it never happens. And this pandemic forced the hand of some serious people to be like, all right, fuck it. Let's see what you got, man. We got nothing else. And we were able to put together amazing programs. And as you can imagine, the digital explosion, hyper speed 10 years ahead. And the things that we're all doing today is pretty crazy, man. If the pandemic didn't happen, we probably wouldn't be here doing these same types of activations.
From people who really don't know about Dylan Austin, it's really an incredible cigar industry story. Dylan Austin started out as a graphic designer for Camacho Cigars. Now, I remember, because my mentor was Sal Fontana, who was with Camacho when they were Carib imported cigars and whatever. And I remember meeting Dylan when they first hired him, talking to him, his ideas. And I literally told Sal Fontana, God rest his soul, I said, you guys don't know how to utilize this kid. I'm just telling you now, if I could afford him, I would steal him from you, because Dylan was that talented. But if you look at his transformation, it really is amazing. So, then Camacho gets acquired by Davidoff. He moves over to Davidoff, and he went from, he's president of Davidoff USA now. And I'm telling you, not only did he change his, grow as far as the business, Dylan is Cuban. He was a lumpy Cuban guy, and he looks Swedish now. I swear to God. If you look at Dylan looks like a Swede. I mean, he has become like the quintessential Davidoff president. So not only career transformation, his physical transformation almost matched his job. It's amazing.
It's crazy, man. He is he's one of the brightest minds I've ever met in my life, man. And it's.
I wish I could pull up an old picture. I mean,
by the way,
he is Cuban.
He is Cuban, and he is a Guerra, by the way. There we go.
I had no idea he was Cuban. We've had him on the show.
Yeah. His mother's Cuban, and she's a Guerra. We're all from the same towns in Cuba, so we say we're long lost related. We probably could trace it, to be honest. But
I really got to look through my archives and find an old picture of him. I mean,
don't do that to him, man.
The physical transformation matched his career transformation, literally.
He's crushing it, man. That guy, before I joined, inside industry conversations, they always talk about like, oh man, who's going to be the future? And like, I always say like, man, we are the future of this business. And 30 years from now, they're going to be talking about us the way we talk about, George or Carlito, because it just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And so I always say that we owe it to the industry that we need to respect and do always the right things, because we're going to be the people pushing it forward. So we can't fuck it up, right? And in that, I've always, got tossed around as, hey, man, you're like a really creative person. And so it's Dylan. But I grew up with Dylan. I knew him. And I was always like, yeah, he's really cool. But whatever, man. Like the competitive thing kicks in. And somebody sat me down and put me in check one day and was like, nah, man, you don't know the capacity of what this human being has. And I was like, I don't know. I'm pretty confident in myself. So whatever. But like, and then I got to work with him. And in life, there's two types of leaders. There's visionaries and there's operators. And for the most part, everybody's an operator. People like Steve Jobs is a visionary. He figures out the vision and then he lets the operators execute. I have never in my life met somebody like Dylan, who's a visionary and an operator. Like the way he could execute and dissect business plans and numbers and prepare like an operator and yet still be a visionary is mind-blowing to me. And like, I was humbled very quickly. I was like, wow, this guy's the bomb, man. Who is my friend that transformed? Like, I didn't even recognize him anymore. I was like, man, he hit hyperspeed. Like something happened. Like he just hit hyperspeed, and when he blew past everybody, and I've been around some pretty impressive people, just in the cigar business, mentored by Colucci, been with Rob Norris, a lot of people, and like, and with all respect to them, and like 1 hour with Dylan, I realized like, holy fuck, this guy's the future of this entire industry. And we get to be a part of the team, which brings me together like, all right, now we are going to change this business. It's not just me, it's everybody. We're going to be a part of the team that revolutionizes and evolves this entire industry. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
So, I've always said amongst my own team, you have to have depth of vision. That's what I call it. There are visionaries, but there are different levels of visionaries. And it's almost like your headlights driving at night. There are certain people who could see 30 feet down the road, next year, whatever. Then you got guys like, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates who are looking at 20, 30, 40 years, in their depth of vision, what they're looking at. And it makes all the difference on how far down the road you could see. I mean, and think and plan and see where things are going. Paul, you found an old picture?
I think it's definitely an older picture.
I'll tell you how old it is when I see it.
All right, it's with Matt Booth.
Yeah, that's pretty old.
That's very old.
That's pretty old. I mean, look at that. I mean, he literally he's become Swiss. I swear to God.
Yeah, he looks great, man. Like him and I, we both train every single day.
And look at Matt Booth in that picture. Holy cow!
I know. He looks like a child.
Right?
Wow.
Dylan was awesome to have on the show for sure.
He was.
I can see where what you like about him and working for somebody like that. So it's been 2 years for you.
It's been 2 years, and it's really rad. Like, so he brings me on board, but he somehow figured out a way to place everybody to be an important piece of the puzzle, and we're all fucking the same, man. Like, we all challenge the status quo. Like, Lana's a beast. Zach's a beast. Everybody's a beast, you know, and it's our when we get together, our meetings are like, you know, we just do things different, man. It's really cool. And I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, I mean, we're going to head to a break pretty soon, but we're going to talk more about Eddy Guerra and what he's been doing with Davidoff, what they have up ahead with Davidoff. And Eddy's going to be on his own segment as the record spins by Avo Cigars.
Should be interesting.
This was Eddy's concoction, and Eddy and I have sat and talked, and we have a brand new segment, a little different spin that will start next year in 2022. So this will be the last episode of As the Record Spins, powered by Avo Cigars, and it's only fitting that you'll be our guest for the last segment of the year.
We may have to do that every time. Just bring them on.
Eddy, you may have to be our traditional, as long as the segment runs, our last guest of the year. So,
all right.
We also
what a cool beginning story, man. It was very cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Dave,
no, it's okay. I mean,
really great story.
I don't know where I was. I was starting the show, and we started talking about today, and I didn't even think of queuing it up because, you know.
Well, because I did research, obviously, you know, not as much as normal, but I did research on Eddy because I know of Eddy,
which is little.
Like I've never made. Well, listen, I just didn't put it down on paper, but I've never met Eddy. But I know everybody that we talk to in this industry always has great things to say about Eddy. And Abe, you and Eddy get along very well, and you always talk about him and his stories and whatnot. So I did some research on him, and I was just fascinated by how he ended up here. You know, it's such a cool story of how we're here today.
Marketing people always get along.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, we had a fun phone call just coming up with the segment for next year.
Yeah.
You know,
because we speak the same language, man.
Yeah,
it's the same.
You know, like I have the idea for the new intro, and I can't wait to show it to him because I know he's got the mind that's going to be really appreciative of it. You know, I don't care how cool you make something, right? An intro piece, a video, if you show it, like my father was that way growing up. Now imagine me, I'm creative. I'm doing these creative things, whether it be before I worked with him at school or when I worked with, and I'd show it to my dad. My dad would be like, yeah, nice. Like, I mean, nothing ever related to him on any level. Nothing. Right. Like nothing. He's not a marketing guy. He doesn't appreciate the nuances or whatever it is. So marketing people relate. We get along. So also in hour 2, I think what we are number two of we're on number 2 of the top 10 mafia movies of all time on season 3 of Tale of the Tape. And of course, we'll have our good friend William Cooper on. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back right after this short break. Keep it lit.
Surgeon General warning. Cigar smoking can cause lung cancer and heart disease. Currently available at your favorite cigar store, the Romeo y Julieta Reserva Real Nicaragua is another fantastic collaboration between AJ Fernandez and Rafael Nadal. Landing a #1 cigar of the year of 2020 by Cigar and Spirits magazine, the Reserva Real Nicaragua is handcrafted at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez. This Nicaraguan Puro is a medium to full-body cigar that is packed to the brim with flavor notes of leather, coffee, and red pepper, which pairs nicely with a spiced rum. Available in 4 sizes, Romeo y Julieta returned to prestigious form with the Reserva Real Nicaragua that should be enjoyed by all. Surgeon General warning. Cigar smoking can cause lung cancer and heart disease.
Oh, hey. That time of year again. We do our thing. Try to get festive. Move into a new house and want it to look good in the neighborhood. Win the contest. You know what? It's one of the most stressful things there is. Because you can't do it during the day. You got to do it when the kids are sleeping. So here I am. Enjoying a nice glass of Bonner Private Wines to help me through the night. I'm almost there. You know what? Our friends at Bonner Private Wines have some really great Malbecs right now. Perfect for the holidays. Check them out. It's a 3-pack sampler. You can join the Wine of the Month Club. You can try 3 different Argentinian Malbecs. They're really good. I enjoy them. They're helping me create this masterpiece here. You should check them out too. KMAWines.com has discounts for you on shipping, on the package itself. And if you want to become a Wine of the Month Club member, guess what? There's discounts for that too. Check it out, KMAWines.com. I will be up for another couple of hours taking care of this. Check it out.
Honest Abe here, smoking cigars. It's that time of year again, the Great Smoke. For over a decade and a half, we've been hosting one of the country's biggest cigar bashes, where aficionados from all over the world would trek to South Florida for a 4-day extravaganza. In 2019, we themed our event for the first time, 70s disco, Can You Dig It? And it was one of the biggest events we ever had, and we look forward to the very next one. Unfortunately, the world was hit by a pandemic, and cigar events and functions were being canceled all over the country. Our team was poised with the question, what do? Do we cancel the event? Do we do a half-cocked event and just get by? No. Instead, we put on our thinking caps and put on one of the most epic 7-hour virtual events that was enjoyed by thousands and viewed by tens of thousands of people all over the world. Our event in 2021, the digital experience, forever changed how these types of events will be done. So this year, for the first time in 2022, the Great Smoke, the last luau, will be both an in-live and virtual event experience. We had hundreds of people who contacted us early this year telling us how much they enjoyed our virtual event this year, how they had never participated in one of these mega events because they were unable to take time off for work and travel and come down. So this year we're going out of our way so that people can enjoy the event in their own home as they did earlier this year, and also do it in live. Michael Herklotz of Ferio Tego Cigars and Kim Keeney will be returning in 2022 to reprise their roles as co-hosts for the Great Smoke. As we did earlier this year for the first time, we have worked with select manufacturers to make very limited TGS releases. We got Aganor Salif, Espinosa Cigars, Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, Room 101, and ADV Cigars. They will each be making a very limited run of TGS edition cigars, exclusively to ticket holders for the Great Smoke. There will be a series of special virtual events between the end of November and the beginning of February, where all these TGS limited releases will be offered prior to the Great Smoke event. So you will need to get your ticket in advance to be eligible to get into the very special TGS virtual store to participate in these events prior to the Great Smoke date. As always this year, we're going to have a very special dinner hosted by the Red Meat Lovers Club and special guest Steve Saka from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. This is going to be a last luau feast like you've never seen before, and all attendees will get a very limited RML, it's Red Meat Lovers cigar, made by Steve Saka just for this event. So what do you have to do to participate? Go to thegreatsmoke.com, secure your ticket, which will get you the last luau party back. Now, whether you're virtual or coming live, everyone will get the same epic package. This is the most epic Great Smoke package we've ever made in the history of this event. Almost $450 worth of swag and 40 premium cigars that'll either be delivered to your door or handed to you the day of the event. As always, during the Great Smoke, we'll have mega raffles and prizes, and whether you're at home or there live in person, everyone who gets a ticket is automatically entered. The event dates are February 24th through February 27th, with the main event being February 26th. And whether you're there in person or live watching at home, we're going to have 5 special virtual sessions and interaction with what's going on in the event floor, so you can actually see what people and what things are going on as the event is happening. Tickets go on sale this Friday, November 12th, noon Eastern Standard Time. I urge everyone out there to get their tickets early. They'll let you participate in all the pre-virtual events we're going to have with the manufacturers who made limited releases, and it'll secure your ticket because our feeling this will be the most epic year ever as far as ticket sales and how fast they'll go. To get your tickets and for more information, go to www.thegreatsmoke.com. The last luau, baby, because this will be the last luau you'll ever need to go to. Peace. And we're back. In regards to Brian, we bought him a mic to use.
Alex has the mic.
I know.
Alex has the mic. I can get them again. You know what? I'm gonna have to reshoot that whole thing because Tuesday they're ripping out all the landscaping out there. I had somebody come because I was like, "What are these little trees all around?" They're like these giant hedges. So that I guess they're cheap. They're like $2 each, and they're like high, so it looks like there's stuff put there. So my whole yard, that whole flower bed, would just be all hedges, starting it like not any no bushes, nothing, like just big giant hedges that will grow to like 5 feet tall. So I was like, all right, I guess we have to replace that too. So my moniker for the last 3 months has been, if you've ever thought about building a house, don't. It's a dream come true, but you're going to take another year and a half to get it to where you think it should be. But anyway, I'll reshoot that so it looks better.
Yeah, we'll get you the mic.
I got to get him from Alex.
We'll get to the mic. So we got to get you the updated video for the Great Smoke. And the advent calendars have been going out. In fact, where's Eddie? Is Eddie around, or is he?
Yeah, he's here. I'll bring him back in.
Yeah. Because
I was waiting for his intro.
Yeah, Eddie's the type of guy I know will appreciate this. So I'm actually dropping one in the mail for you, Eddie. I'd love for you to see this package. And we're already working on next year. I got a hell of a concept and how we're gonna improve this and change the whole experience tenfold for next year. So. Crazy, but we already have to start planning on it because what we definitely want to make sure is they drop on time next year.
Yeah, just make sure you have it by like February and you'll be good.
we thought August was going to be early. Well, I mean, listen, outside of the one faux pas of having it sent to California instead of Miami, it would have been on time. So
I think so too.
That was the big faux pas, which I
even with delays, you still would have been fine.
No, because it was a little bit delayed, but I had such buffer room; it was going to be fine. But the whole thing was, we specifically told them to ship it to Miami. It had gotten to the port well early enough to have gotten it well in time to had it ready to ship like 6 to 8 weeks prior to December 1st. But I think they did it on purpose to save money instead of shipping it to Miami, because it costs more to go to Miami, and it backfired on them. So we'll never use that company ever again.
I'm trying to find a good picture of the advent calendar to show. I mean, I know we just showed it. I love the 3D image in the commercial, man, where you see it like turning. It's cool.
It's so much more impressive in person. But
are they still available? If somebody wants to buy one now, can they buy one?
They are still available. In fact, we got them in the stores, and people are buying them left and right as just Christmas gifts. They make good Christmas gifts, even if they're not advent calendar. Because, like, the one question we get asked more this time of year than anything is, my friend's a cigar smoker. He's got cigars.
What do I get them?
Yeah, what's special? I mean, it's about as special as it gets. I mean, it's literally the first ever retailer advent calendar where there's 25 different cigars in it from 21 different companies.
$264.95.
Yeah, it's about a $300 package, and you get 10% off on the cigars. But there's a lot of packaging and money in the packaging and labor and the shipping. The shipping on those things is about $25, and I think we
that's
charge,
a great price.
We just encouraging shipping, flat rate shipping on that box?
Are you encouraging people to not show the cigars? Because I haven't seen many. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 people.
Most people have been very respectful. I haven't seen anybody like blow up and open all 25 and show them all. I know Terrence Riley and
I was just going to say that. Terrence.
And so is Garrett Robinson. They're just doing a video a day, and they started with one, and they're just going to open one up every day.
Yeah, I saw Terrence do one, so I guess he's doing all of them. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's cool to see too, even if you have one. Like I don't know. It's a great concept. We did it with wine last year, and we actually really enjoyed it. It was a very expensive box, but it was worth it. It was all half bottles, but we didn't get it this year because we're on a budget. But I think it's a cool concept. And if you can still get it, so you know what? If you give it to somebody on Christmas, really, they could just start it on January 1 or on December 25th. I guess you can work your way backwards.
It's fun no matter how you slice it. So, I mean, and most people are having fun with it and get it. You know, we had one whack job who like ordered it, it shipped out the next day, and then emailed us back. You know, it's not going to get here on time. I want to return. I'm returning it to sender. He literally returned it to us. Like, you know, what did you think it was going to happen in December and shipping? It was going to get there overnight. You know, we shipped it out that you ordered like at night and it went out the next day. You know, but
I tell you, it's such a delight these days.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer for the people in store. You know, as nice as it looks, like you said, on camera and seeing the video, when people actually see that thing and the heft, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a great gift, absolutely.
Yeah, and they people are coming in. Most likely, those people are coming in thinking they're going to buy a box for $200 or $300 anyway. This is you know, a special thing. Yeah,
it's beyond a box. So another interesting tidbit for anybody who's, you know, I got some interesting messages this morning that we got a second hotel block for the Great Smoke. First time ever we sold out the whole hotel block.
Wow.
And we got a second location. I got messages this morning saying it was sold out. I'm like, what? Impossible. I actually texted Stephanie, one of my assistants, and she's like, that can't be right. So it seems what happened is there's a phone number for the new hotel at the location, but when people click on it, it was calling the old hotel that sold out. So that's been, if you dial it, you call the right hotel, the right La Quinta, but if you clicked it and hit dial on your phone, it was linking to the previous number of the sold out hotel.
Okay.
So I had a lot of messages this morning saying it's sold out. Is not sold out. There is still a block of hotels available. The rates start at $109, which in February here in South Florida is retardedly crazy.
Yeah, you can't get that.
So it's still up, and I already reached out to Rivers this morning. He fixed the link, so now it's all working. But just in case,
if it does sell out, I got a pretty big backyard. People can start camping out here.
Oh, careful, I know exactly the right people to send your way.
Absolutely.
All right, so it's time for that segment. At the top of the hour, every show, it's As the Record Spins by Avo Cigars. Let's cue that up. All right. Now, Paul, was this one of Eddie's questions?
Yes. And I think it's one of the two that we didn't use all year. So I figured
I can see why you didn't use it. It's a tough one to use.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Eddie, the one thing you'll have to look forward to in our new season is you don't have to write questions.
No, that's true. You know, writing these questions was really all about people better, but also to kind of like screw them up because they're all like not easy to just go off the cuff.
No, they weren't.
It was like we purposely were like cracking up as we would write these. We'd be like, how do you jam somebody up?
Well, you know, that was one of the things when we agreed on doing this segment. I said, Eddie, you know, I can't get Paul to do a simple outline every week. There's no way we're thinking of questions for every show. So if you want to do this segment this way, Eddie, you're going to have to make the questions every week. And Eddie was like, no problem. I got it. So Eddy Guerra, here's your question from Avo Cigars as the record spins. If you die and are brought before judgment in heaven, what is the one thing they're going to expect you to answer before entering the Holy Land?
Bro, really?
Yeah, bro.
Question. It is your question. It is your question.
Jesus.
I can see why Paul never uses one.
There's a select few people we would
In
give
fact,
this
this question might have been perfect for Matt Booth.
I was going to say he would be one.
It probably yeah, his question was awesome. Actually his answer was spectacular.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
if you die and are brought before judgment in heaven, what is the one thing they're going to expect you to have to answer before entering the holy land? Well, I mean,
Man,
listen,
that's
you were in Thailand and Bangkok for a long time. I got to imagine.
yeah, exactly.
There's some stories there that need answering.
There certainly is, and I don't know if I want to name any of them live on the radio, but it definitely that's I'm pretty much gonna leave it there. You know, ironically, I'll tell you what. When I was looking for a condo when I first moved to Bangkok, this is kind of weird, but I'm gonna say it anyways. My realtor was like, "Hey, we're gonna get you a really good apartment." It was in this street called Wireless Road. Wireless Road's in front of the U.S. Embassy, and she's like, "This apartment's really special. You should get it." And she said the most twisted thing. I was like, "Why is it special?" She goes, "Because this is next door to where Kill Bill killed himself. Like when David Carradine did that whole asphyxiation, that thing." And she's like, "So this apartment's valuable." And I'm not gonna lie, I took it. It's just a really weird. I don't know. It's like, oh man, it's kind of weird and creepy. But I don't know. It was like a weird scenario, but I don't know why she pitched it that way, but it worked, and that's where I live.
Okay, well, there you have it.
I can't answer the question why.
There you have it.
I live right next door to where David Carradine. Oh, you are the best. Thank you. Fiance is the best.
Oh.
Give me.
All right. So what is that on the plate? You have to share. What do we have there?
She did. What'd you do here? This is pastrami and cheese rolled up with truffle oil sprinkled on top.
Oof. Oof.
Well done.
Truffle oil that's the sign of real love right there.
We're fancy.
Yeah,
this morning. I love it.
That's why we're getting married. So
I'm sure Stephanie does the same for Paul all the time.
I usually, if we have breakfast, I make breakfast, and actually the funny thing is that I put truffle oil on our breakfast too. I like to drizzle a little bit of truffle oil on eggs. There's something about it, man.
She puts truffle on everything, so it's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So Eddie, what is? I mean, listen, you manage Davidoff, Camacho, and Avo. I mean, that's like pretty much the Davidoff portfolio, man. That's a huge job for one guy.
Yeah.
I mean, what's left? Zeno?
Yeah, I mean, I do work on it. Technically, it falls under my management, but for the most part, as you know, it kind of runs itself, and it takes a lot of the direction from Switzerland. So that one's not as difficult. But the I say it's a gift, right? It's one of the greatest honors to be able to manage Davidoff and Avo and Camacho, because you're managing legacies, and you get to push boundaries and do a lot of cool stuff. But you also got to be careful to respect legacies and keep them intact. So,
did you get the opportunity to meet Avo?
I never have. No,
I
never did. Yeah, which everybody says that we would have gone along, and that's as amazing as Davidoff is, because it's the pinnacle, right? I have probably the most fun with Avo, because I feel like it speaks to my soul, like, as a brand. Everybody has brands that they identify with and brand ethos and all sorts of stuff. And every time I answer that question, people kind of get caught off guard, because I'm always normally in a suit and dressed up, and they're like, "Oh man, you're super Davidoff." I'm like, "Yeah, man, but Avo's everything." And the first project that I was able to work on, and when I joined the company, was to launch Synchro Caribe. So that was such an honor and such a cool time and experience working with the team and developing it. Like the cigar development part was very unique in its own right, but the way we brought it to market and the digital activation and the digital storytelling, like it's the first time that we did something incredible, like on social media, where it was 4 months of content day after day after day, including mini documentaries, you know, interviewing artists and musicians and filmmakers. And it was just all tied into that Avo ecosystem of which is just expression. And it's just something that I personally love. And, you know, the team, we kind of all like identify with it. So it's a beautiful thing. And it's been a great honor. And the cigar rocks, by the way.
Are you?
What do you think of it? I am not. That's
the one I went to. We both grabbed this one. This is one of my new favorite. I mean, it's new, so obviously it's the exciting one, but we enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I love this. By the way, it's a very unique way of blending, right? And you know, every manufacturer gets on here and says, "Oh, we blended this. Is super crazy, super unique." But truthfully, like when we were working on developing this blend, I was at the factory. And they pitched me this idea that I absolutely was just like, wow, this is going to be everything. So the whole point, like we mentioned in some press releases, that it's natural distribution. And what natural distribution is, if you look at a tobacco plant and all of its primings, you know, let's say you have like 10% Ligero, whatever, 40% Viso, the rest is Seco, like all the primings, the blend is created in those same exact percentages so that every cigar is the recreation of a tobacco plant or the distribution of the way a tobacco plant grows in terms of primings. So it's super neat. And I've never heard of this concept. And I was just kind of taken back by it. And the way they explained it to me and finished it, they were like, because when it gets so balanced that when you're done, you have a clean palate. And then at that point, I was like, really like, wait, what? So at that point, every time I took a puff, I was like, clean palate? Clean palate? And it really worked for me. So I just love this concept so much. I've never heard anyone talk about it, but it's really great to be a part of an organization, I guess, where everyone wants to put their own signature and their own twist. So like while we're going above and beyond thinking of the brand and how we're going to execute and launch and activate, the factory is always looking at ways of innovating and doing something completely different. So it's like everybody, even though you're in a different country, is still in that same mindset of like, we're here to push boundaries. So I love it. It's actually my favorite cigar this year of everything.
Nice.
So is there anything you guys are working on that's coming up that you could share with our audience?
I mean, not really, but yeah, I mean, of course, right? So we obviously
it's
have
the sharing with our audience. It's not really part.
Right, exactly. But we will have another Avo improvisation that will be coming out on his birthday, as it always does. And last year, we introduced the Camacho Factory Unleashed, which was another amazing project that I was so proud to be allowed to kind of re-envision that. And that was cool. And we're going to come out with another one this year, a different version of it. But, you know, when I talk about changing the business, right, and when we all talk about changing the business, it's also changing a mindset, right? And one of the big things that I think we're really focusing on is you don't always have to innovate products, right? And I think that's a really huge problem, man, because everybody every year is like, what's new, what's new, what's new, what's
right.
new. You don't have to, man, because what we create is already extraordinary. So where true innovation comes in is how do you reactivate and how do you continue to push your current core products in the market and coming up with new and exciting ways to create experiences for people, because what I want is for people to fall in love with the product, not with what's new or what's on deal or what's on special. If you're loyal to a deal, you're going to be loyal to the next brand that has a deal 3 days later, and then 3 days later after that, and 3 days later after that. I we believe in creating experiences for people that they understand the process of why we've created these cigars, why the cigars are special, and they fall in love with it. So it doesn't matter if there's a deal or not. They identify with the brand and fall in love with the brand. They will always stay loyal to it. And that's truly where a lot of our innovation is coming in moving forward, because, man, you also, how big do people's humidors need to get to take all these brand new products? I mean, eventually it starts cannibalizing each other.
That's the problem we struggle with all the time.
Correct, right? And I love that's the direction we're taking. And if you look at other industries that have similarities, I mean, the easiest example I give to people is like, how many new whiskeys you see Johnny Walker come out with every year? You don't. It's black, blue, gold, green, platinum, and it stays there. They have a limited edition here and there with Game of Thrones, whatever, but everything they do about those 5 whiskeys. But they're not boring. They're not dull. They just reactivate and reintroduce and let people fall in love with their product. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And it's such an amazing ride, because when you do that also internally, you fall in love with the product. And I think the most important thing is that whatever we do, it's true. You truthfully have to be the customer first before you do anything. So you got to envision things from the lens of the customer. And there's 2 customers, right? You got, the consumer, and then also the retailer is also a customer. So we got to envision things from their lens, so we know what to do next and in the future. And through that process and through creating these experiences, it's amazing to see even internal reactions of, like, let's just say like Avo Core, man, when you smoke an Avo XO, like you have guys like, man, I haven't smoked this one in a while. How amazing this is. And it's like, the products speak for themselves, man. You just got to continue bringing it up and doing cool things that tug on the heartstrings of people so they could identify with it and become brand loyalists.
Yeah, great philosophy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's that time. We have one of our favorite correspondents in the wings ready to come on and tell us, hopefully, some new news that's going on this week in the world of cigars. It's time to see what is the scoop with Coop.
Hey, yo, what's my theme music?
The Scoop with Coop. Breaking industry news. Hear it first on KMA Talk Radio and cigar-coop.com.
Koopa.
Good morning, everybody. Eddie, how's it going?
Coop, how are you, my friend? I have no
Good.
airport photo to show you today, but
All right. we'll let you off the hook.
yeah, man. Great
Yeah.
to see you, brother.
You too. Hey, Abe, can I, before I start to make one comment about the advent calendar? I have been personally blown away by it. Okay, and I normally don't impress easy with some of these things, but not only is that box cool, and I know people haven't been talking about the cigars, and I'm not going to reveal any. These cigars are like legitimately like cigars you're going to want to smoke. I mean, it was cigar after cigar I opened. It's unbelievable.
Well,
So,
whether it's
yeah.
the Great Smoke, our Cigar of the Month Club, what's the point in using brands that nobody wants? I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose of any effort putting into any project. We always try to pick products that we feel the masses will enjoy on some level. Now, whether it's Cigar of the Month or the Great Smoke or the Advent Calendar, nobody's ever going to bet 1,000. Somebody's going to hit a cigar and I've had that, I don't like it. And that's just the way it goes with stuff like that. But the goal is, it's 25 cigars. You're going to hit cigars you've never had before, may try for the first time, and that's the fun of stuff like that. And if you like this Advent calendar, I'm telling you, I am so excited about the one we got planned for you. I haven't even had a chance. Alex hasn't been around. Right. I even had a chance to talk to Alex about what we're going to incorporate for next year. It's going to be so badass. It's going to be next level shit next year.
Yeah. Coop, let me ask you, did you, when you got the Advent calendar, did you immediately open the first, 13 when you got it or 14 when you got it?
No, actually, because I'm doing some photography on it because I want to do like a photo essay on this when it's done. So I started it on the 16th, and I'm kind of going on the day of the month. And then so I'll go back and do the first 15 once I'm done.
Oh, see, I like that way. I like that method.
Because
That
I wanted
works.
to open. I want to open 25
Christmas.
on Christmas.
Right.
That was the reason, and it was going to get too confusing if I did it any other way.
Yeah, somebody had I can't remember who it was, but I saw somebody posted they started it the day they got it, but then opened up one or two from the previous ones to match every day. So by the time they get to the 25th, they'll all be open. Everybody's having fun with it in their own way. I'm pretty sure some people have opened it all up already.
It really is a fun. It's really fun. That's the key word I think with this. You're gonna have fun with this thing. There's no way around it. And I'm looking forward like every day, just one a day, seeing what's behind that door. It's really cool.
The order that they were put in was basically based on retail value. So the first cigar has the lowest retail value, and the 25th cigar actually has the greatest retail value. That was the order. That was the order in which they were packed.
Okay, because I know where I'm at already, and there's some pretty good value already. I'm at 18.
Oh yeah, it gets it starts going up 1 to 25. I mean, it goes up. But it's really funny because it was the only really fairest way we could do it. Because I'm not going to mention manufacturers, but everybody had a very special day. This is my birthday, or this means something to our family, or this was this, and can we put it? And it's like, okay, you know what? It's just going to go in retail. It's really, and honestly, that's the way the excitement should be. You should work up to, in the
Christmas
is
a big day.
Crescendo. You got to work it up to a crescendo. It's got to work its way up to an exciting point.
And I think a lot of people after like their Christmas meal smoke something a little bit special that maybe they wouldn't smoke every single day. So that's going to be a special cigar. Cool.
And the 25er is a special cigar.
Yeah,
so.
I can't wait.
I don't know what it is. I have no clue. Oh, no. Kind of just want to look.
Unfortunately, I have them all memorized and embedded in my head.
I think Randy does too. When I was talking to her,
3 days of packing cigars by numbers kind of does that to you. But I tell you what, who's most impressive in I mean, I had my kids out there, my wife was out there. We had everybody out there packing. My son, because he really wanted to help, but the problem is there's only so much he could do before he starts getting in the way. So we had all these high school kids, most of them girls, all working on all these different stations, teams of 2 packing advent calendars. One would hand them up on the trick table on top of the 4 at a time while the other person slotted it. And as they would run out of numbers, they would tell Asher, I need more number 9. I need more number 8. And he would run. We had all the boxes laid out by numbers. He would grab a bundle, run it back to them. And he did that for like hours on end. So he had fun.
Yep. That's awesome. That's awesome. He got involved with that.
Yeah, man, it was kind of nice to have a family affair. And I'm going to be honest with you, Alex will tell you, we do these think tank sessions. After my daughter spending 2 days working on this logistics of packing, how it was going to be, I literally think tank session with them on a drive home. And they came up with some of the best ideas that we're incorporating into next year's calendar. I was very, very impressed.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. And they're cool because now as kids, they'll get to see their ideas formulate and come to fruition. So I think it's going to be a really cool experience for their minds to say, hey, I thought of this last year. Look at it. This is how it looked like when it was done. So that was kind of cool.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful here.
All right, Coop, what is the scoop this week?
All right, and Paul, when you get a chance, can you put up the image?
I got it now. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So we're gonna start off. Espinosa Cigars has shipped a cigar that they launched at the trade show. It's called the Las Seis Provincias Las Villas. So this is one of their more premium brands that they've introduced a few years ago. This is the 3rd installment. And you can see one of the highlights of this, and this kind of fits in a little what Eddie's talking about, is the whole theme around the brand. They tend to go for kind of this unique packaging in the mantra of some old Cuban style. And this is representing like a curio cabinet with some stained glass at the top. You'll see each cigar is actually in this release is packaged in a coffin. And if you're interested in the cigar, it's a Nicaraguan Puro that's available in one size at a 5.5 by 54 Robusto. I've smoked this cigar at the trade show, and it's a treat. I'm going to tell you that right now. So this is a really good cigar to check out.
I was just at their factory earlier this week. In fact, I posted a picture with Junior, and they had them there. And I was going to bring ours back, but that box goes into another sleeve they hadn't received yet.
Yeah,
so they were waiting on that sleeve to ship them.
I thought maybe he wouldn't let you. No.
I was going to take it. I was really just going to take them, but I think he didn't have the components, and for shipping purposes, I prefer to have those boxes in the sleeve.
His father was up in Alex's old neighborhood.
Yep, he's in Philly right now. He might be heading back
he's at the
today.
Twin
Actually.
Shop.
Wow.
He goes to their Christmas party every year.
I saw him out there looking mighty cold.
Yeah, yep. That is
Those
funny.
guys will still be outside standing on
Nope.
the street.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, exactly. Nothing will stop
Cold or
them.
not.
Nothing will stop them. All right. Another piece of news. We just had this gentleman on last week. From Southern Draw Cigars. They actually have announced a national release, and I think he may have talked about this last week, of the Jacob's Ladder Ascension. So it's a new blend under the Jacob's Ladder line. It had a soft launch for earlier, but now it's going nationwide. And I guess the highlight of this was one of the first prototype blends of the Jacob's Ladder blend that they didn't use. They made some cigars. They had them aside for a few years, and now they're going to take that blend and roll it out as an ongoing release. So you should start seeing retailers get that on the shelves in the next couple weeks.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, it got some cool. The Jacob's Ladder blend's actually a pretty good line I've liked.
Yes.
If you're a fan of Warp Cigars, and if you're a fan of Hostos Casada, who's been a guest on this show, Hostos Casada, he now has his own factory, Tabacalera La Isla. He has done another cigar for Warp Cigars, and this is the second cigar he's done for them. And what's kind of unique, if you smoke Warped, and I know Warped has its following, but this one is actually a San Andreas wrap blend, and they don't do a lot of Maduros in Warped. So this is something that's a little different, and it's now getting ready to hit the shelves. It's available in a 4.5 by 48 Rothschild, and in 20 kind of boxes, priced at $12.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and that's what I have for this week. It was a very light week, as I was telling Paul.
Okay, well, so much for that.
Yeah, I said that. I told Paul it was light this week. We're getting into Christmas. Things are starting to shut down, so it'll probably be light till early January.
That's but we have to get into the next segment, which is, I have a feeling the top 3 movies in your picks are going to be up for some debate, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Abe, if
Cool.
you want, we can go. Go ahead.
How's your top 20 or end of the year? Where you're at with that?
We just announced number 23 yesterday, and that was the Perdomo Reserve 10th Anniversary Sun-Grown, which I think the Sun-Grown's kind of flown under the radar a bit. Fantastic cigar. So yeah, we're at 23. Number 22 will be revealed today.
So what's the date where you plan on getting to number 1?
January 10th, Monday, January 10th. Number 1 and number 2 are announced the same day.
Oh, is there a reason why you do number 1 and number 2 at the same day?
Because basically what happens is if I do number 2, most people can guess what number 1 is. So just do them at the same time.
Right.
But I think you will be pleased, is what I'm just going to say. I think you will be pleased. Which I normally say. No. I'm actually talking to Abe. Davidoff's done very good on the Coop list. It's had a long streak on the Coop list, so they've done very good. I'm smoking this the Nicaragua Box Press, which is a former top 10.
Oh,
Love that cigar.
I love that cigar. Yeah, I do too. So yeah, that will be revealed on January 10th.
Do you get a lot of people who complain about your picks when you do this every year?
I was just going to ask that.
From the industry.
Oh, from the industry, more from the retailers.
More from the industry because they're all butthurt that they're not on the list.
Steve Saka.
No. I never got a complaint from him. But although he's been on the list quite a bit.
I was going to say, last year he was all over the list.
Yeah, okay. I do get here's what happens. I get complaints from the Saka cigar enthusiasts because they think I rate him too low on the list. You know, if he's not number 1 or number 2, then I've screwed him, basically. I'll never forget. I rated a Saka cigar in 89, and you want to talk about hate mail incidents? That was a hate mail incident. I was getting it for weeks, like how I screwed that. I was accused one year of not rating Sin Compromiso on my list, and it cost Steve Saka the consensus. Someone said so. It's crazy.
It's that Saka mafia, man. You can't mess with them.
No, they're very. I mean, he makes some great cigars. There's no doubt about that. But every cigar can't be number 1 either.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm curious now. I have to look back. I want to see what one got an 89.
It's Sin Compromiso.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That's funny because that's like one of my. I think that. I think that's my favorite of his cigars.
Yeah, and that's why it got such a backlash.
Yeah.
And Steve actually and I have talked about it in on the air too, and he said, "Look, you can't like every cigar." He was pretty. He was not beating me up over it. It was everyone else.
That's right. You did one of them has to go, didn't you? Didn't you pick Sin Compromiso when you had him on the show? That's right.
Yep.
I watched that episode. Yeah.
Yep.
This is just your personal taste, right? That's what it's based on.
In the end, it's my personal taste, exactly.
Yeah.
And
there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong when it comes to that.
No.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like that's why lists baffle me, right? It's you gotta look at it just like wine, right? Like you'll find a person that rates and reviews and cigars, and if their palate aligns with your palate, that's the guy that you follow, right? So I follow Robert Parker. Some people follow James Suckling, right? Because whatever he rates is probably, oh man, I align with that. But every review panel has their own palate, and it's all subjective. And dude, listen, at the end of the day, we're in 2021. It's not 2002. All cigars are fucking great right now.
Yeah.
It's up to your palate.
It's a lot of great stuff to choose from.
Eddie, that's a great point, Eddie, because here's the deal. Like I get this comment, you're subjective. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. I am subjective because people want to know my opinion on
it's
that.
Taste.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
so I may not be for everybody. I totally understand that.
And we do that with everything. I mean, growing up, like the only movie critic I would listen to is Roger Ebert. If he reviewed something and talked highly about a movie, that's a movie that made it worthy. Okay, I need to see that. I would have never thought of seeing that, because I loved his reviews, and every time he reviewed something, I went and watched it. Exactly what he said is how I felt about it. So that's the guy I followed. So I mean, it's
you find people that have similar tastes to you.
Yeah, and it's not just cigars. It's
and that's who you follow.
And that's who you follow.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, are you into mafia movies, Eddie?
I am.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to your critique. As always, this is season 3 of Tale of the Tape, best top 10 mafia movies of all time. Now this week we're going to see who their picks are for number 2 of all time. Let's run it.
All right, here we go. Tell the Tape season 3. Number 2 for me is Goodfellas. Coop's number 3 pick last week. Goodfellas is the opposite of The Godfather. It's a story. It's a true story, and it's a story of low-level street guys, neighborhood guys. The main character in the movie none of them were actually made guys. But Goodfellas is probably the most realistic mafia movie there is out there. Great cast of characters: Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Ray Liotta, and look, Coop laughs at Joe Pesci. I love it. And pretty much, honestly, every other mob movie guy you could think of at a younger age is pretty much in that film. Tons of classic lines, tons of classic scenes that are often repeated and imitated. Number 2, Goodfellas. Take it away, Coop.
Yep. So my number 2 is The Godfather Part 2. And I don't want to call it a sequel because it's a unique movie. It's a sequel and a prequel. And I really I tended to like the sequel part better than the prequel part. I know the whole prequel was mostly, in Italian. I didn't mind it, but the sequel was much more compelling to me. The whole part about Cuba, the whole Cuba connection in there. Of course, the Fredo, which I think becomes one of the more iconic names in our lexicon today. Really, really enjoyable movie and one of a kind.
Absolutely. A lot of people like 2 over 1. But interesting tidbit here that I'm seeing. We took a different approach. I combined The Godfather and The Godfather 2 into 1.
Yes, you did.
Just not to clog up my list with The Godfather. And there is, if you watch the chronological way that they done it, is very good. But you made a point earlier. You know, once you get to number 2, most people can pretty much put your number 1s in place. And I don't think my number 1 is going to make your list, which is
no. I am when you
my
when you
number
told,
1 movie is not going to make your top 10 list.
I thought Goodfellas was going to top your list, and I was kind of wondering where. And I think I may know where 2's going, right? But when you said The Godfather was 1 and 2 last week, I'm like, now I'm really perplexed. I don't think it's going to be a big surprise next week what not 1 is on mine. I'm not going to lie.
Sure. And,
yeah.
And we'll get into it more next week, but my 1 is not going to make your list, which is insane to me. And it just goes to show your bias for a disdain for a certain person. We'll leave that to next week.
That's funny.
you know, it's funny though, the whole Joe Pesci thing. So we talked about it last week. I actually thought he was good in Goodfellas. He did a good job in that movie.
You said it. Don't worry. Joe Pesci's not watching. He doesn't care.
I tell you, I was about 7 years old. I remember when the Lufthansa heist happened.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy time.
Wow.
Jimmy Conway just died last year too.
Yeah. Okay, I'm old enough to remember Godfather 2 in the theaters. Not I don't remember 1 in the theaters, but 2 I do remember in the theaters.
All right, so on that note, here's a good thing. Mine's going to be the weirdest. What's the first movie? What's the first movie you guys remember going to see in a movie theater?
Ooh, Peter Pan.
Mine is literally going to be the weirdest one. I guarantee you, out of everybody. In fact, some of you, I'll bet you, Eddie, how old are you?
40.
Eddie and Coop may know it. I doubt Paul. Well, Paul's the theater guy. He may. But
I'm close to Eddie. I mean, I'm 38.
Eddie's Peter Pan. How about you, Paul?
No, Eddie said Pinocchio, I thought.
No,
Peter Pan.
Oh,
Peter Pan. I'll never forget it. It was the first time I went to the movie theater because I was like, what is this? I was young. And it's those weird moments I remember where you're like 4 years old. And I remember Peter Pan.
That was the re-release. Mine was, I think, the re-release of Bambi. Yeah.
It's funny. You guys got all these little cartoon movies.
I don't remember.
I was 4 years old, man. It's 1985.
Paul's gonna like mine.
I gotta see what year this movie was.
All right, this was, but it is a Disney movie. Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Oh wow,
that was your first movie. Wow,
I love that movie.
Yeah, I was like 4 when that movie came out, and I remember it. Yeah, I went with my aunt and mom. I remember they took me to that.
So mine was in 1979. So I was 7 years old when I saw my first movie. Listen, my parents weren't movie people. I think my dad's maybe gone to the theater like 4 times in his whole life. I mean, it just wasn't happening. So it was very weird that for whatever reason, I guess it was critically acclaimed. I mean, it actually beat. No, it wasn't Kramer versus Kramer. It was Ordinary People that beat Mean Streets. But it was a critically acclaimed movie. It was a Dustin Hoffman movie.
The Graduate?
Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh, Kramer versus Kramer was your first movie at 7 years old?
Yes. I guess my parents, and I remember there was a nude scene in it. I was like, what? Yeah.
Wow.
It was the first.
So wait, you went with both your mom and your dad?
My mom and my dad, I think, went with an uncle and aunt. I mean, I was 7 years old. I can vaguely remember this. I rember it because there was a nude scene.
Your first nude scene.
Yeah, I know.
You don't remember the reaction? You're looking at your parents like, holy shit, what am I looking at?
Yeah, it's my first time I saw something.
Those were always awkward moments.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't nothing sexual. It was like an ass scene, or something. It wasn't like, people having sex in bed. But I remember I was like, whoa. Yeah, it was crazy. And it was Kramer versus Kramer. And then I think they made us go watch Jesus of Nazareth when they wanted to go.
Well, that was I saw that young. I went to Catholic school, so you can imagine. I saw that.
Yeah, and I think the first kid movie was Superman. They took me to see Superman. I think I had to beg to go see Superman.
I remember.
By the way,
Marlon Brando. I saw that in the theaters as well.
I'm gonna say, in your top 10 mafia list, I'm a little. I love Goodfellas, right? I mean, I think that's definitely in the top 3. But I can't believe I don't see King of New York in there, and I can't believe I don't see Casino in there.
Well,
there's one left.
Number 1.
One left.
Yeah.
Casino should definitely be in the list as well. I agree.
Eddie.
And King of New York. I mean, Christopher Walken.
He wasn't a mafia guy.
Oh,
I mean, a great movie. Love the movie. Wasn't a mob movie.
neither was Scarface. Reality.
We had this argument with.
We made a big argument about that. We don't
Thank
feel
you, Eddie.
Scarface belongs on the list.
Well, Vincent
We're all on the same
Pastore,
page.
He's gonna go back to Vincent Pastore. All right, I got a question. We got 5 men on the screen, right? Who isn't done
Right.
Christmas shopping?
Oh,
Who isn't
right here.
done?
Yeah, who isn't?
I'm not done.
Nobody's done.
I'm
right?
not
I haven't even started.
We're done, but
I haven't started.
You don't do
Yeah,
this.
I don't do it.
I just
We're
have to.
done, but I'll do it.
I just have to give my
Brandy's
wife.
done. You took care of
Randy's
everything?
done, but listen, my wife, man, listen, she just doesn't wrap gifts, man. She puts the ribbons, the twine.
Yeah.
I told my wife you should just go gift wrap at a mall, because she really loves gift wrapping. She's actually phenomenally good.
Oh
at
my
it.
God! Tell her to come over here if she.
She's
really
like a
needs something to
professional
wrap.
gift wrapper. I think I
I'm
helped her
horrific.
one year, and we got in a big fight, and that was the end of me helping gift wrapping ever.
Yeah,
I don't do
um,
it either now. And unless I order something on Amazon that I think somebody wants. Abe, do you and your wife get each other gifts?
We say no every year,
And we do
but
it. Yeah.
and we do every year.
So right,
Literally.
so we usually get each other like a good amount of gifts, but the last 2 years with the kids, we're like, listen, we'll get one gift for each other. The only Christmas shopping I've done is right here. There's only one thing that Stephanie wants. There's a pair of shoes. So
Yeah,
they're sitting here, I
Marissa
haven't
gets me
wrapped
the
them.
same gift every year, and she yells at me because she knows this is what I want every year. I want the same thing. I want the same.
What is
pair
it? I need to
It's
know.
a pair of
Yeah.
black pants.
Oh, the ones that you wear every day?
Yeah, because now I have new ones, and the old ones become the knockaround ones. And
Yeah.
the year's up. That's what I want. That's what I want. That and whatever. T-shirts, undershirts. I mean, I don't give a shit.
That's what I always. Underwear, t-shirts.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
You don't buy.
These are some hell gift, guys. Underwear, t-shirts, pants.
Well, listen. You're still in fiance mode. Give it time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Exactly. Abe, who wraps your wife's gifts? Your daughter?
No, typically the company I buy it from.
Okay. I utilize my I've utilized
yes.
my daughter over the years.
It comes delivered very well gift wrapped.
That's
Cartier and Tiffany wrap his wife's gifts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They come very well gift
Paul,
wrapped.
that's the one advantage of having daughters is they love wrapping gifts. Like even
Okay.
she could be 30 and she still loves wrapping gifts.
I don't trust my daughters, man. They all got big mouths.
That's true.
I can't let my daughters in on any of
Yeah, it's a
surprises I
problem.
ever do for my wife. No.
I could see that. No,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Coop, when my wife gets gifts like that now, I make it the gift for the year. Last year, she really wanted a bracelet that was very expensive, and I said, "Awesome, this will be the gift for Christmas, birthday, anniversary,
And you
any
think
other
you get,
special
and you
occasion."
think you get away with that?
I didn't. I still ended up buying
Yeah,
her stuff
get
for
the
the
hell
other,
outta
but
here.
not as much. Nowhere near as much. Nowhere
Get the
near.
hell
as much.
out of here. That doesn't fly. All right. Being this is the last show before the end of the year, right? New Year resolutions. They suck. Is anybody making any?
Never.
Paul, I know you got one.
I never.
No, I don't do it. I've never really done it. I think if I had to say, now that we're like settled in the house, like I haven't run since before my son was born. And as much as it sounds weird, I very much enjoy. I mean, I don't go crazy. I used to do 2 miles like 4 or 5 days a week, but I really want to get back into that to do something for myself. And I enjoy it when I'm in it. Once I get through that first week of the hell, I really enjoy that like time. It's very rare for me to be able to like turn off my brain. That's actually why I do enjoy smoking cigars as well, because it's one of the few times in my life where I can like kind of take myself out of the world and just kind of zone out. So yeah, I guess if I had to have one, it would be to start running again, which I plan to do.
I do New Year's resolutions every Monday, and I fail every
Dude,
Monday. Monday, I'm going to start going back to the gym.
Wait,
Monday.
Alex, I was just saying the same thing in my head. I have a resolution every fucking Monday. I do the same fucking thing every Monday. But you know what? We need to get back on racquetball.
I agree.
We were actually enjoying it.
Oh, you play racquetball?
I've been an avid racquetball player since about.
Oh
8
man, I
years
would
old.
love to play you. I love playing.
Avid. So
Abe, you're legit with the racquetball, man. You hold your own there. I saw the
No,
video.
he's legit. Abe's legit.
Yeah.
He's a smart.
Yeah.
He knows
Yeah.
how to play. He knows
Yeah.
how to play. So
Yeah,
I think Eddie would be surprised
Abe
at
knows
Abe's
how to play.
athleticism.
Yeah,
No, man, racquetball is interesting, man, because if you're really good, I play quite a bit. If you're really good, you don't even have to move that much.
Right. That's where Abe
it's
excels.
Okay,
He
so
knows
first
where the
off, for the
ball's
record, first off, my vision is like crap, so that's part of the problem in racquetball. But
Alex, get those goggles.
No, it just doesn't help. I play with my glasses, but when you're trying to watch a ball moving 100+ miles an hour, you need good vision. But
glasses.
Alex keeps me running around. I've had my good win going on. The only difference is I just make him run around 10 times more.
Right.
I have never played racquetball.
Listen, it's a fun sport. I mean, Alex saw, man, my heart rate was over 160. We have our little Apple.
Oh, dude, it's
intense.
Literally high intense interval training because it's just sprints. Like if you start running, you sprint and stop, sprint and stop. It's
right. There's a lot of muscle groups involved, right?
It's funny.
I don't even know the rules.
We'll be playing, and Abel, I'll get a point, and Abel go. If it was a 1-point game, I really would have ran for that one. But you're down 9, so I'm saving my energy.
I gotta play that way. I gotta conserve my energy. Like I could have got that one, but I'm ahead enough. I don't have to exert. When you're moving 400 pounds as fast as you can, man, there's a drain on the energy flow, and you're got to conserve that energy. But yeah,
I would love to learn how to play, but I could never do it with any of you because you're gonna film it.
It's really a simple game, Paul. I mean, it's hard, but it's a simple game.
It's really simple game.
I'm not the most athletic person in the world.
The worst. I think it was maybe the last time we played. We went with Briggs, our operation guy, and his son. We kind of had like this mini tournament. Winner kept going winner. So Matt and his son were so bad. Like we played 2 games in the time that they took to play 1. So then I had to play Matt's son, who's what, 23.
Yeah, 23.
Yeah, 23 and a beast, right? So like literally, I played him. I think I almost had a heart attack that game. I literally did. I mean, I had to stop for like 10 minutes just to.
Yeah, there's no finesse in Danny either. There's no finesse.
No, he's just fast. No matter where I hit the ball,
crank the ball as hard as possible.
He got there, and then he hits it as hard as he can. Thank God, with not too much skill, but he just hits it as hard as he can. Well, because people don't realize when you hit it hard, if you don't hit it right, you help the other guy because you give him more time because it doesn't die, and if you know how the ball moves, it actually helps. But that's my New Year's resolution. We need to we were playing 3 days a week for a long time, and we got to get back on that track.
Then Russian bats after.
Russian bats.
It's close.
Listen, I'll tell you what. Credit to them though. I asked them on Instagram Messenger just to see what was going on. And the kid, I know it's the son that runs the Instagram. He reached back out to me. He said, they're opening in New York in right around Christmas, but he said Miami's proving to be tougher. There's just
are they not opening for financial reasons, or is the city giving them?
No, the city's since the building fell down there. Not just the city and federal inspectors have really been cranking on. So
it's not COVID related at all.
It's a lot of and listen, that place has been there 40 years. I'm sure they've been greasing somebody's pocket for 39 of them. All that wet and water everywhere. So it's a little, there's no more. You can't grease the local guy anymore. He said, but they're working on it. They haven't given up.
So they plan on. They're still trying to hope.
Oh yeah, he said no. We're not
good, man. I got that 10 pass punch card I haven't used yet.
Yeah, me too. I got.
The guy sold me a 10 pass punch card last time I was there. They closed the week after.
Right.
I was like, great move. Well, Eddie, thank you for joining us today. Deeply
my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's a great way to close out our year.
Absolutely.
Coop, thanks for the news, gentlemen. All our fans out there, truly appreciate. We wish everybody a very happy holidays. All right, happy and healthy, safe New Year for everybody. KMA will be back in 2022. We're going to take the next 2 weeks off with the best of, and we come back in January with Mike Conder and John Huber of Crown Heads. And there's a couple of guys who really don't do the circuit, right? They're not on a lot. So
no, I don't think I've seen interviews with them. So
very little. So it should be a very interesting show. We're excited. So we'll see you all back in 2 weeks. Until then, everyone, keep it lit.